Coming up at NCC News, how offices are becoming classrooms for college graduates, and why New Zealand may be looking the hardest for an alternative energy source. These stories and more coming up on NCC News after these messages. Hello, I'm Michael Long.
And I'm Stephen Gagliardo. In our top story, President Obama pushes for stricter gun laws after the Sandy Hook Elementary School shooting.
President Obama is pushing for background checks for anyone who wants to buy a gun, so dangerous people cannot get their hands on one. Brianna Keeler has a story.
If he can't convince Congress to take up gun legislation, perhaps they can. President Obama brought 12 family members of the Newtown shooting victims back to Washington with him, personally ushering them off Air Force One. Among them,
the President of the United States,
Nicole Hockley, who lost her 6-year-old son Dylan at Sandy Hook Elementary School.
Though sometimes the waves of sadness are so great they threaten to drown me, I stand before you now and ask you to stand with me, with all the families.
Hockley had earlier introduced the president as he began a week-long White House push for a gun bill. Obama criticized Republican senators for trying to block a measure from coming to the Senate floor.
In the wake of a tragedy, you'd think this would not be a heavy lift. And yet some folks back in Washington are already floating the idea that they may use political stunts to prevent votes on any of these reforms.
Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell is now planning to join the 13 senators who say they will filibuster a bill. Democrats are hoping to overcome the filibuster with a bipartisan compromise that would require background checks for all or almost all gun purchases. The measure has overwhelming public support but is in jeopardy in the Senate.
We have to tell Congress it's time to require a background check for anyone who wants to buy a gun, so that people who are dangerous to themselves and others cannot get their hands on a gun. Let's make that happen.
Brianna Keeler, CNN, Washington.
A child victim of the Iraq War tells his story to us all. Ali Abbas lost his relatives and parts of his body during the war, but Keita Schubert reports.
In 2003, 12-year-old Ali Abbas was the face of the Iraq War. He lost his parents, his brother, and his arms in a U.S. missile attack. From his hospital bed, he spoke little, but he told CNN, "I want new arms." 10 years later, we visited Ali at his home in London.
Hi, how are you?
Now 22 and a newlywed, he has built a happy life here, introducing us to the newest member of his household.
Come up,
I still think, Iraq is my first home, but, Iraq is not safe now. It's very hard for people to live, Disabled people don't have a good life in Iraq. This is my family.
He shows us the only photos he has left of his family. Their home in Baghdad was reduced to rubble, but his sister survived and he still visits them every year. And that is where he met his new wife. He says Baghdad is much worse now than it was before the war.
I used to go with my father, with my family, everywhere in Iraq and Baghdad. Now you have to think twice where you go because it's still not stable.
Prosthetics have not worked as well as Ali had hoped, so his wish for new arms has yet to be realized. But he gets by fine with his feet, opening doors, typing emails, and beating me soundly in a game of PlayStation football. Manchester United versus Real Madrid, of course.
Is that 3 goals in 10 minutes?
Yeah.
If only real matches were like this.
It's a far cry from the silent little boy on the hospital bed. But he doesn't want people to forget that image.
I hope that people can look at this picture and think, yeah, the war was bad, and this war should, the war should not happen because it destroys lots of people's life. And
And you yourself, have you been able to sort of live a normal life here in London?
Well, I try to do my best. You know, you have to get on with life, not think of the past. You know, I mean, I will always look forward for the best.
And he has a new wish.
Oh, good one. Well, I hope, you know, Iraq and the region will be safer, and so when I can have kids, my children will live in a better and safer life.
A wish for the life he has in London to be realized at home in Baghdad. Atika Schubert, CNN, London.
Oil is a desperate and scarce resource these days. Many countries are hurting and in need of an alternative energy source. New Zealand is the country that may be hurting the most.
This environmental wasteland is costing the Pacific big time. A quarter of the region's import bill is spent on diesel.
We're at the end of the distribution line. Transportation is always expensive. We pay the highest freight rates anywhere in the world.
About 10% of our national budget every year goes towards the importation of diesel for our generators. So that's a huge amount of money.
It's why regional leaders are here to drum up business for cleaner and cheaper forms of energy.
Pacific Island leaders have come to the summit hoping to get money from big donors, and it's going to need to be big. They need another $800 million to fund renewable energy projects across the region.
The European Union and World Bank are just some of the potential investors at the summit with cash in hand.
We've got all of the key donors alongside all of the decision makers from the region. If we can't make some things happen here, it's never going to happen.
New Zealand paid for Tokelau to become the world's first nation to be fully powered by solar energy. It also funded an $8 million solar plant in Tonga, reducing people's power bills by 4%. Many Pacific countries rely on aid. They simply can't afford to take out loans.
Some countries have already maxed out their balance sheets with debt.
The European Union is the big backer here, today announcing it's adding nearly 40 million New Zealand dollars to the kitty.
I assume that this action would help us also to push forward the climate change agenda.
It's a solution that we've always been dreaming of being able to do.
Harnessing the sun for energy isn't cheap to set up, but the cost of using diesel comes at too high a price.
Tristan Nunez is a teenage race car driver that wants to warn the U.S. about texting and driving. He says he feels safer driving on a racetrack than on the road today because of these dangerous drivers. Victor Blackwell reports.
Race car drivers on a racetrack, no big surprise. What might surprise you is that the favorite to win this race is just 17 years old.
I need half the field this side, half the field on this side of Tristan.
He's Tristan Nunez from Boca Raton, Florida. He started racing go-karts at 13.
Just do what you know.
And then graduated to this at 15, before he was licensed to drive through his neighborhood.
My mom and myself actually feel safer driving on a racetrack with professional drivers than driving on the regular roads with people who have no idea what they're doing.
He revs up to about 150 miles per hour around this track.
At that speed, there can be any little distraction, can be an injury,
Fatal.
could be death.
Fatal.
Actually, that can happen at any speed. Before the start of the 2012 racing season, a little distraction off the track nearly created a major problem.
I was with my mom in the car and we almost got in an accident because she was Facebooking, emailing, whatever, distracted.
We almost rear-ended somebody. And he, that's when it really hit us, and he's like, Mom, you got to put the phone down.
So Tristan and his mom, Diane Nunez, had an idea to inspire other people, especially young people, to put the phone down by branding his car the Don't Text and Drive car.
And we put it all over the car and put it on his suit and then put it on the website and it just took off.
And you got the bracelet because when they raise up their hand with
the phone, they see it, exactly.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it just serves as a constant reminder not to do it.
Hundreds of teens have pledged to not text and drive. Some have even signed Tristan's car as part of a pledge.
It's just distracting. You get caught up in another world completely separate from what you're trying to do.
There's not really a lot of teenage race car drivers out there, so it was definitely good for them to go onto a teenager's car.
I know we're not going to stop it, but at least it's going to bring more awareness to people.
Tristan was the big winner on this day at Road Atlanta.
Without him, I wouldn't be here.
And he tells teens who look up to him the key to his success on the track is the same key to staying safe on the road.
You have to have 100% focus. You can't lose your focus for any reason at all.
Many college graduates struggle to find jobs in the U.S. today. These young adults are being taught how to work in different ways. Christine Romans tells us a new way to teach young adults the skills that employers need.
This is the American dream. But for too many college graduates, this is the American reality. An average $27,000 in debt when they leave college, and a job market where 1 in every 7 can't find full-time work. But there's a new model that could change the way students learn the skills they need to make it in the work world. It's a little less Ferris Bueller.
Anyone? Anyone? The Great Depression.
And hopefully a little more Carter Doria.
You're my new boss.
I guess so.
How old are you?
I'm 26 years old.
This is where future 26-year-old bosses are currently learning the skills they need to be successful, not in a college classroom, but on the job.
I'm going to be joining in on the kickoff call with Ben & Jerry's.
Working 40 hours a week in New York City as part of a pilot program for Institute, a nonprofit that co-founders Shaila Achiria and Kane Sarhan think can change how students get the skills employers need, not only on college campuses, but through full-time, on-the-job apprenticeships.
It's focused on skills, so both business skills and technical skills. So they can learn any coding language. They learn, like ops. And then they also learn marketing, business development.
It's all about really taking whatever they learn and putting it into real-life scenarios.
The first class has 11 participants chosen from a pool of 500 candidates living together in a 3,600-square-foot loft.
Exactly, yeah.
Wheezy Yancey Siegel is one of them and brings a unique perspective. She spent a year and a half at a Southern California college, costing $58,000 a year before deciding it wasn't for her. She now apprentices at Flavor Pill, a digital media company, getting paid minimum wage.
In school, you have a teacher that tells you, here's what I need it by. If you need help, come talk to me. Being an apprentice, I do a lot of scheduling and assisting, but I also get to see what's happening in different departments.
So what's in it for Flavor Pill? According to Wheezy's boss/mentor, Sasha Lewis.
The benefit that we're getting from the apprenticeship concept is that it's a longer-term relationship. There's a deeper commitment as opposed to an internship.
Apprenticeships are hardly a new concept. There are 358,000 registered apprentices in the U.S., but the majority of those are in traditional skill trades like electricians, carpentry, plumbing. If Institute's push into innovative new industries is successful, it could help make apprenticeship an attractive alternative to college.
We've been trying the pure college route for decades, and we have not gotten good results.
For Wheezy and for Flavor Pill, the apprenticeship has paid off.
Wheezy would definitely have a full-time job here if and when that opportunity comes available for both of us.
Christine Romans, CNN, New York.
Bullying is a huge issue in schools today. Some students in Stanford want to help prevent it by taking part in the Hallway Harassment Project. The students from Stanford High School of the Mayor's Youth Leadership stood in the hallways of their school with up to 20 signs with common words often used in the hallways to bully each other. The Hallway Harassment Project has taken many times and places to protest against bullying and honor the victims of harassment. Reports from the Center for Disease Control show 20% of high school students nationwide reported being bullied on a school property. Studies also show about 1 in 4 students in the U.S. are bullied on a regular basis, and 77% of students are victims of mental, verbal, and physical bullying.
AMF Bowling Worldwide Incorporated has filed for bankruptcy. Michael Long has journeyed to the local AMF bowling alley to see what people think about the future of the sport.
AMF Bowling Worldwide Incorporated, the largest operator of bowling alleys in the world, filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy in November, making it the second time the company has filed for bankruptcy in the past 12 years. This has raised questions about the company's future. I journeyed to the local AMF in Norwalk, Connecticut to find out what its patrons think about the future of the sport.
So, my favorite part about bowling is that I get to meet new people. I get to be very vulnerable in front of these new people because I do not know how to bowl, but that's okay,
Others are not so hopeful about the future of the sport.
No, I don't like bowling. I mean, it's great to get together, but that's about it. I suck at it, so there's no point.
I'm Michael Long, reporting for NCC News.
Coming up, a look how to get that dream job you've always wanted.
Stay tuned.
Looking for a job? Need some tips for that interview? Listen up. We've got all the important tips for you to land that dream job, as Elena Rusnak reports.
A job interview is the first stepstone of landing your dream job. Even when you have gone on more interviews than you can count, they don't get any easier. With so many job interview tips, it's easy to forget the simply important ones. Director of NCC Career Center, Patrick Bolin, talks about the job interview tips that will help you get the job.
This is the process where you're going to sell yourself. This is how we sell ourselves. We're here to talk to the employer and convince them that we are the perfect person for the job. Be on time for the interview. It is very, very important. Punctuality is key. Dressing. I always place emphasis on dressing. Dressing for success, we call it. Try to find out a little bit about the company. Try to find out the employee type, the culture, how people look from day to day going into this office building to work. Try to mimic that. Always have your resume prepared. Don't assume that because you've sent in a resume to a prospective employer, they have it. Always carry an extra copy or two along with you. Do your research. It's always important when you attend an interview that you know something about the company. Know things such as maybe their competitors. Are they international? Are they diverse in their products? Who is the CEO of the company? These are some things you can easily find out. And the best of luck to you.
I'm Elena Rusnak, NCC News.
NCC held its academic festival this semester as it raised awareness to many important issues and some clubs around the school. Michael Long reports.
Norwalk Community College held an academic festival to show off its clubs and to raise awareness on important issues.
The academic festival, in my opinion, is a day-long celebration. All the different events or disciplines, I should say disciplines that are going on at the college. So each department gets to strut its stuff.
The festival is a great opportunity for the Asian Club to raise awareness on human trafficking.
So I'm here today to present myself as NCC Asian Club, and we're here to recognize our philanthropy, which is human trafficking. This event is called the 2013 Academic Festival, so we're trying to make sure that everyone recognizes the importance of academics and realizing what kind of issues they can influence around the world.
The Academic Festival is a chance for different groups and organizations to promote what they have going on. I know there's different humanitarian events out there. The newspaper's got a table, so it's just a chance for different groups to showcase what they have.
I'm Michael Long, reporting for NCC News.
The Exercise Science Club is an important club at NCC as it shows students things like living healthy and good cardio workouts. Sutman has a story.
NCC Exercise Science Club helps students understand how to live healthier lives.
What the Exercise Science Club does is gives you a taste of career options, chances to go to conferences with like the American College of Sports Medicine. We also do our famous event, the Tough Mudder Race in New Jersey, Vermont, Philadelphia, everywhere.
Exercise Science is a major where they show you every aspect of fitness from wellness to cardio. There's a lot of workout and surprisingly a large amount of science behind it all.
We tell them how to do things right and get healthy into their best shape of their lives.
Thomas Callender is the Exercise Science Club advisor. He said that the Exercise Science Club gives students very good exposure to the field in general.
We do trips. For example, recently we went down to Griffin Hospital, which is where I work, in cardiac rehabilitation, and just to get a feel as to what that is. We also have internships that we also recommend the kids to do as well.
If you want to know how to live healthier lives, Exercise Science Club meets every Tuesdays from 2:30 to 3:30 in room H004 in Health Building. This is Yunali Tutman, NCC News.
NCC holds a club fair at the beginning of every semester to show and encourage students to join clubs. Lots of clubs have many benefits towards the students and can help them in many ways. Stephen Gagliardo shows us some of the fair.
NCC hosted its annual club fair. The club fair gives the chance for students to learn about all the clubs at NCC and join them if they would like to.
I'm Brian Adams, and today we're at the club fair. I got free ice cream a second ago. It was really good. I joined 3 clubs today. It's a self-assurance club where we learn how to increase our confidence level and maybe talk to chicks. I also joined the Student World Assembly Club where we learned about foreign affairs and world troubles. And lastly, the music club, so I can play guitar and shred.
The club fair also gives current clubs the chance to promote their clubs and raise awareness for what they're trying to do, or just try and get people to join in general.
I'm Vered Brandman with the Gay Straight Alliance. I've been a student here for a long time, and I've been involved with the Gay Straight Alliance for about 2 or 3 years now. And we're focused on creating a safe space for LGBT students to come in and share stories and stay informed about what's going on in the larger world with LGBT issues.
Reporting for NCC News, Stephen Gagliardo. Let's learn about the director of today's show. Joe DeSpirito is an avid golfer as the game has changed his life dramatically. Michael Long has the story.
Meet Joe DeSpirito, a 20-year-old NCC student who says the game of golf helped him turn his life around.
I started playing golf when I was 16 years old, and I was in high school. I wasn't a good student in high school until I started playing golf. It just changed my whole life. My grades went up and everything. I just thought about life in a different manner after just starting the game. Made me a better thinker, made me a better learner, made me more caring somewhat, just made me an overall better person.
Joe says his family got him into the game.
My father, my brother, and I, we just thought of something to do, something new. We knew we had a driving range in our town, and we were like, you guys want to try it out? And we did it, and we've been playing ever since. Something new and something fun to do.
But Joe had his doubts at first.
My first thoughts about the game were pretty negative. Thought it was corny, old people kind of thing, slow moving, and it just didn't seem fun for me until I tried it out, and that's what changed. My whole thought process changed when I tried it out.
I'm Michael Long, reporting for NCC News.
Coming up, the issue of violence in video games.
Stay tuned for more after these messages.
Joanne Chicharella has been a home daycare provider for many years. She has and always will love taking care of young children. Let's take a look at her story.
Joanne Chicharella has successfully been operating a home daycare since September of 1986. After attending 1 year at NCC, concentrating on early childhood education courses, she cares for children daily from 6:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m.
I have been established since September of 1986. I've always had an interest in working with young children. I originally planned on going to a 4-year college and becoming a kindergarten teacher, but started to see the demand in daycare, so I gave it a shot and started doing a home daycare and was very successful from day one. I attended 1 year at Norwell Community College and took many 5 or 6 courses in the early education field, and I also took many classes from home. I normally have 6 daycare children, and I have 3 after-school children come.
Each day consists of a structured schedule which includes music, movement, arts and crafts, outdoor play, and many more learning activities. Joanne also has a nutrition plan in place so that children are served nutritious meals and snacks daily.
I operate my daycare Monday through Friday from 6:30 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. It's a very rewarding job. At the end of the day, it's a very rewarding job knowing that you have cared for the children in your daycare as well as taught them early beginnings of letters, colors, shapes, numbers, different songs, holidays. Well, each day starts like this. As the children enter my daycare, they're being greeted, a little bit of parent conversation as far as how their evening was and how their morning has been going so far. Each child then comes in and we serve breakfast, which I serve breakfast, morning snack, hot lunch, and afternoon snack. And so the children come in, we have breakfast, we have free play, and then we have our normal structured schedule, which consists of our good morning song. We talk about the weather. We have circle time. We read a story, outdoor play. And usually every week we engage in some type of activity as a group, the color game, the name game, duck, duck, goose, lots of activities related to maybe a holiday. And music. It consists of dancing, we learn new songs. That's basically it. But we try to get all the children involved, all the ages, even the infants sit in our circle time. And then we talk about what maybe they've done on the weekend. If it's raining, we sing rain songs. If it's Easter, we talk about the Easter Bunny and sing songs about Easter. Lots of activities, as much as we can get in on a given day.
There have been many mass shootings in the United States in the past 5 to 10 years. There is a huge debate on why these shootings happen. Video games could be one of the main reasons. Joe DeSpirito has a story.
The Virginia Tech, Aurora, Colorado, and most recently Sandy Hook Elementary School shootings have us all wondering, are video games the reasoning for all of these shootings? Adam Lanza, the shooter at Sandy Hook Elementary School, was known to play video games such as World of Warcraft and Call of Duty, which have lots of violence in them. Games like Call of Duty, which is a first-person shooter, is known to have lots of blood and explosives throughout the game. The game can even be played online against other players as you kill each other's characters in order to win the game. Like tens of millions of young Americans, this student plays video games, including the wildly popular and violent game Grand Theft Auto. In this game, he is mowing down pedestrians, shooting police officers, and taking close aim at a food vendor. It is part of a controlled event at Ohio State University. After 15 minutes of intense action, he was asked if he felt angry, scared, strong, and more. Psychology professor Brad Bushman, a leading scholar in the field for decades and the man behind the Ohio State research, says the events are clearly measurable.
You are linked to the violent character. If it's a first-person shooter game, you have the same visual perspective as the killer. You get points when you kill people. If you kill enough people, you get to advance to the next level of the game. You're also rewarded through things that you might hear. If you kill somebody, maybe you hear impressive, nice shot. You are tied for the lead. And you hear these praise, and we know that reinforcement increases the probability of behavior.
Many say the games are more about the challenge and the competition. It is often a social activity played online with friends or any other amount of gamers around the world. It can also be another entertainment form that hasn't been accepted compared to things like TVs and movies.
Yes, I do play with my friends. I have fun. I do not get angry because that's being a sore loser, and everyone's going to start getting mad if you keep getting mad at the game. So that's it.
Senator Dianne Feinstein of California said that Congress may be forced to take action to limit video game violence. She stated, "If Sandy Hook doesn't do it, then maybe we have to proceed, but that is in the future." Senator Lamar Alexander of Tennessee also said video games is a bigger problem than guns because video games affect people. For NCC News, I'm Joe DeSpirito.
Want to hear about Taylor Swift's anger toward Tina Fey and Amy Poehler? Or hear about Jennifer Lawrence's MTV movie nominations? Elena Rusnek has the story.
Is Taylor Swift never ever going to forgive Amy Poehler and Tina Fey? The Golden Globe host made some remarks during an awards show in January that apparently touched the nerve with the 23-year-old singer. They told the recently broken-hearted Swift to stay away from Michael J. Fox's son and to take some time to learn about herself. In an interview with Vanity Fair, she referenced a quote that said, "There's a special place in hell for women who don't help other women." Poehler tells Hollywood Reporter she feels bad as Swift was upset, and Fey told Entertainment Tonight the whole thing was a lighthearted joke. Jennifer Lawrence's streak just keeps going with a set of brand new award nominations. After taking home both a Golden Globe and an Oscar this year, Lawrence now has 5 MTV movie nominations. 4 of those are for her part in the romantic comedy Silver Lining Playbook, while the other is for her role in The House at the End of the Street. The MTV Movie Awards will air live on April 14th. Holly Madison might be best known as Hugh Hefner's former girlfriend and star of Girls Next Door, but she says she's done with modeling for Playboy after becoming a mother. Madison and her boyfriend welcomed the baby girl on Tuesday, and the former playmate says she wants to do things that make her daughter proud. For Hollywood Minute, I'm Elena Rusnak.
Please join us next time for more NCC News. I'm Steven Gagliardo.
And I'm Michael Long. Thank you for joining us, and good night.
Think Americans are still living the unhealthy life? Well, think again. On the next NCC News, we learn about how Americans are eating less fast food every day. And a Portuguese family shows us their feast for Easter. We'll give you these stories and more on the next NCC News. Please join us.